So where this movie fits into the MCU, this is post Thanos. So Thanos has happened. Thanos has been defeated. And Dane, who is played by Kit Harington, again, Jon Snow, he was saying, like, where were you guys when Thanos happened? And Cersei explains to him, she's like, we can't interfere in every conflict that humans have. We have to actually let you guys do your own thing so that you will advance naturally the way you're supposed to. We only get involved when there's deviants involved. So deviants are these crazy looking creatures that are actually organic and they can evolve on their own. Whereas the Eternals, they don't. Like they're created in one way and they're just always that. They never age, which is a point of contention later on. Never age. So like that's the reason why Kingo is able to get away with like always being this Bollywood movie star. But it's also why Sprite is kind of annoyed in her situation because she doesn't like her appearance. And funnily enough, she has the ability to change her appearance, but not for real. So they all kind of have these powers and stuff. Like Druid, again, I mentioned Druid hates human free will, but he has mind control. So she's explaining to him like we can't really do anything. We just had to let Thanos happen. So that kind of explains like, all right, these guys would have definitely turned the tides in that battle for sure. Like they
Oh
are
yeah.
ridiculous. 10 of them jumping him. Like, granted, they're not all created equal, and that is very clear from the beginning of the movie. You can tell that Icarus is like, again, he's the Superman of the group, just like in DC. Superman is basically the strongest person in the Justice League. So, this guy is Icarus is the strongest guy in all of the I guess it's debatable by the end when Cersei gets her full powers, but like for all intents and purposes, Icarus can go around killing them all, and they can't really deal with him one on one. Although I do like, there was a point towards the end of the movie where Athena and him were squaring up, and
Yeah.
she's like, I always
Yeah.
wanted a piece of you,"
There
and
was,
he
oh
said, "You
my
never
god.
had to fight me," and she said, "But I always wanted to."
Dude, I love that shit. When that happened, when she said like, "Oh, but I've always wanted to," like, I was
Yeah,
like, "You fucking go!" Like,
yo,
I love shit like that.
that
He was like,
part
"You've
was
never
so
had to
fire.
fight me." She's like, "But I've always wanted to."
She like immediately lunged at this man with weapons. I thought that shit was fire. So there are a lot of points that there was I think it was a part where Icarus was fighting everybody, and out of nowhere Makari comes, the Flash. She comes out of nowhere and she just starts boom 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 boom, boom and it's like some anime shit. It looked like some anime Final Fantasy,
Yup.
like Final Fantasy 8. Have you ever used Zell in Final Fantasy 8? It looked like some crazy shit. The CGI in this movie is so well done. Can we just say like
Yeah.
it looks from like this movie looks amazing. It has to have a really high budget because so much of it is CG. Like all the deviants are CG, but then their powers and stuff, all the special effects on their powers, it all looks so clean.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything looks clean. The super speed doesn't look corny. I've seen the Flash in like TV shows, and I've seen the Flash in movies, and I've seen the Flash in all types of different mediums. Sometimes it looks cool, sometimes it looks really cheesy and corny. And the way they did Makari's super speed in this movie, there's a point where they show her like running past the city, and you
Yeah.
can just see the background. And instead of slowing everything down, which is a normal trope that people use for super speed, like they slow everything down to say this person's moving really fast because look at how slow everything's moving. They just make her move so goddamn fast that like she's just zipping through environments. You just see backgrounds changing rapidly, and that's a different way to show it,
Yeah.
which I like. So really, really cool stuff with the visuals. A lot of different parts in this movie were dope. There was a part where humans in like Babylon. I'm not sure if I'm getting the exact period or name of the place correct, but I'm just going to say Babylon because that was in the beginning of the movie. But they're showing there was a war going on, and humans are killing each other, murdering each other, and all of the Eternals are there. They're just like chilling in this pyramid, unbeknownst to the humans, and they're killing each other, shooting, they're doing all kinds of crazy shit. And Druid is angry. He's like, I did not sign up for this. Like, this is not it. I know that we're not supposed to interfere with them. We're supposed to let them do their thing. And Ajax is like, listen, don't go out there and do it. And he says, you're gonna have to kill me to stop me then. So
Mm-hmm.
he goes outside and he literally mind controls. Now, this is what I mean by power scaling. He mind controls an entire war of people. Like every single human who is fighting is under his control. Their eyes glowed as like gold color. They all drop their weapons. They all turn and just like hug each other.
Yep.
And it is actually absurd that someone would have an ability that, and another thing about them is that they don't have stamina. Like that's just None of they're like One Piece characters. They like their devil fruits don't
Yeah,
require
like
you never hear stamina.
there's not like like he didn't use chakra to do that. Like he just
Right.
like and he didn't have to look at anybody's eye either.
No,
He
he
just
didn't
like
look at
he
anyone's
didn't have to.
eyes.
He just like it's interesting because it's like I don't know what the condition was because he just looked at a sea of people and then
Yes.
controlled them all.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's anything that scales as far as what he needs or limitations. No stamina or anything like that. They seem to not have stamina in general. I don't think they sleep either. I don't think they need to, if they even if they do. So they're very overpowered in the sense that, we dealt with the Avengers, who are all human based for the most part, and they all have stamina and limitations and need sleep and food and things like that. The Eternals just don't. So again, in the fight with Thanos, they would be very, very, very problematic, and obviously would turn the tides in the favor of Earth versus, getting especially if it came down to like, oh, we just have to protect these Infinity Stones and not let him get them all. Like he'll never get the fucking gauntlet against these 10 people. Like there's no way. So the 10 of them are so ridiculous, and it would be nonsense to say, oh, like if they never addressed where they were, and then in this movie they say, oh, they were always on Earth this whole time. It's like, well, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but they addressed it, which
Yeah.
like is good, and it didn't feel contrived. It made sense for what the entire plot of the movie ended up being. Another thing that's cool was like you find out, like they talk about it. Ajax is like she very early on has doubts about like what their mission is, and we don't know what the
Right.
mission is at that time. Anyway, we find out what her mission is, and when she reveals to Icarus, like, we should stop the birth of this next celestial, the emergence. We should stop the birth of Tiamat, the next celestial,
Yep.
because like these humans, like they deserve to live. Look at everything they've done, they've proven, etc. And Icarus is like, why? Like, I don't get it. Like, what makes this group of people so special? And
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact sequence of the conversation, but basically she says like they beat Thanos. Like,
Yep.
and I think it's cool that they are regarding Thanos in such a high light because she's like
Yeah, I love that.
they beat Thanos. Like, what do you mean, Icarus? Like, Thanos wiped out half of the population of the universe, and then these humans beat him and brought them back.
It's
Like,
insane.
that's why they're special.
Also, speaking of Thanos, so the whole plot twist of this movie and where this fits into the MCU, again, to talk about it even more now that Kenny has brought it up, the fact that Thanos wiped out half the population actually fucked over the plans of the Celestials, because the way it works is the real mission of the Eternals is to just make sure that the humans keep procreating and keep producing life so that the Celestial can be born. It needs a certain population, a certain amount of energy to build up on the planet while it's dormant. And once that energy builds up on the planet through population increasing, it will emerge and kill everything on that planet. It will create a new sun, which will then create new life in a new galaxy, a new universe, or whatever. Right? That's like the secret about this whole thing. They were lied to, and that their mission was just to stop the deviants, and they came from some place called Olympia. All that is bullshit. Like none of that is true. They thought that they were like these great warriors from Olympia, but that's just completely false. It's made up. And the real story is that they're just meant to essentially harvest humans, like to make like shepherd us, make
Mm-hmm.
sure that we create more life, but not in a inorganic way. For whatever reason, it needs to be pretty organic. So they can't like rush our advancements. At one point, I think Festos was trying to create a steam engine,
Yeah.
and they were like, no, Festos, you can't give them that yet. Give them something simpler. He was like, here is a plow, it plows things because it's a fucking plow. And he's all sad about it. Mind you, the plow he created looked insane. Like it just looked gilded. It was like gilded and all advanced looking, even still, but it was just a plow. But he was really sad about it. And I thought about, because the time that they were in was like 500 BC or something. And I thought about how interesting it was that we don't get the Industrial Revolution, right? Like we don't get the steam engine and stuff like that for so
Yeah, yeah.
long. And he wanted to give it to us again in like 500 BC or some shit, which would have, if we would have flying cars by the time they get to present time. Like we would have we would be on every planet, like humans would be everywhere at that point. So it's interesting how they chose to not advance us on purpose so that we have an organic evolution. Anyway, so the point being that this celestial is supposed to be born, Ajax starts to fight against that. She knows what the reality is because her memories aren't wiped like the rest of them. Apparently, all their memories get wiped after every successful, what do they call it? Emergence.
Yep.
That's what it's called when a celestial comes out of a planet and kills all life on that planet. It's called an emergence. She is the only Eternal who still has her memories from the last time it happened. So while all of them get their memories wiped, she knows the truth. She's being told the real deal by Arishem, and the rest of them are being lied to. For whatever reason, she does decide to tell Icarus, and he is a guy that's like, I just follow orders, right? So he wants to uphold the order. And this is kind of a civil war type of thing. So once she tells him that, he decides, all right, well, I need to get rid of you. You're the leader. And I guess he assumed that he would become the leader when she died.
Yep.
But
Which isn't surprising being like his skill set, but then also even after they made Cersei the leader, a lot of the other Eternals kind of look to him as the boss anyway. Like
they
Kingo
do.
was just like, I'll follow you anywhere. And that's something else that I think is cool is that even though Icarus ends up becoming like the villain or whatever in quotes or the bad guy, he ends up sharing the same mindset as Kingo. Kingo also kind of agrees with Icarus, like, hey, I don't think we should stop this. Like, what right do we have to stop the birth of a celestial? Like, yes, this planet will get wiped out, but it's going to be responsible for like billions and billions of more life being created.
Yep.
Like, what right do we have to stop the birth of a celestial? Something I think is really cool is that this team of people, Kingo ends up disagreeing with the rest of his team, and he does not help them finish the job. And there's no like last second him coming back. Like he doesn't come back and help them like he truly disagrees with them. But then like out of respect for their friendship and everything, like he goes like, I'm just going to go my separate way. I'm not going to get in your way, but like I can't help you. And I really thought that was an interesting and mature concept for a superhero movie.
Isn't that crazy, right? Like it's really, really well done because that happens in real life with friends too. We have a group of friends, we argue, we fight, and a lot of times some people are just like, I'm just not getting involved in this
Yep.
because I like both of you, I respect both of you, and I might even agree with both of you in different ways or different points, or I might blatantly just choose one of you over the other. But like, I don't want to be dragged into this at all because this is not really my fight or this is not my thing right here. Like I just don't want to. Some people sometimes you don't even need to explain why you don't want to do something as far, especially when it's like an argument, right? Like, hey guys, if you like this clip, we have full video versions of our podcast episodes available on the IMNerd Patreon, as well as exclusive content.
If you'd like to listen to our full podcast episodes or find us on any other social media platforms, you can do so by clicking the link tree below.